Hey Joe, I wanted to leave you some feedback on your week 3 writing assignment. Um, as a whole, it seems like you understand the story quite well. Um, I think that you have a good statement of what Orwell's main argument is. I really like the summary of this specific scene and the summary paragraph where you talk about the guards' um, lack of remorse. Really, I think these two paragraphs could potentially be used for for your essay, right? For the actual essay, if you included specific and cited evidence to support, and you revise them to have some clear key points, right? So at this point, you're just kind of summarizing, right? But given that you need to analyze what's going on in the text, I think that if you revise these for clear key points and then included evidence for support, specific and cited evidence, these could work quite well. So let's back up here to your introductory paragraph. And let's talk about what's going on here. So first off, when you summarize, you want to be objective as possible. So do your best to avoid making evaluations about the text. Wait to do that later in your thesis statement, right? So in the in the summary itself, you want to try to be objective. So think about omitting this or changing some things. The essay is a first person account of a hanging, but be certain to be careful here because the narrator is not necessarily Orwell. So it's a good idea to actually separate those two things because the scholarship is not consistent on whether the narrator is actually Orwell. In fact, most scholars of Orwell believe that that is a character. Now, if you do some research on Orwell, you'll discover that yes, he was in the British Imperial Army. Yes, he was stationed in Burma. And yes, he was stationed at a prison that performed executions. So in all likelihood, he did witness something. He probably did witness more than one execution. But we can't assume that this is an autobiographical account, right? What he's likely doing here is creating a character to talk about his issues with the way that the British treated the Burmese people. You don't want to use death row prison. That is a 20th century term, or a late 20th century term, because we really don't have death row here. What I would say, say something like it's a prison meant to hold, or prisoners to be executed. Just think about your word choice here. I get what you're saying here. Some might say that it's his job and he should be used to it, but clarify here what the it is. I get what you're trying to say, but it's not quite there yet. I really like the way that you phrase this. This is great. And then you have a good summary of Orwell's argument, but what you're missing afterward is your argument, right? So for the critical analysis essay, you need to then determine your stance on the author's argument. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. So the easiest questions to ask for a critical analysis is to say, is the argument effective and why? Or is it persuasive and why? So really, you just need another sentence here that really captures your thesis, where you say, for example, Orwell's argument that capital punishment is wrong and immoral is effective or is not effective because, and then you include the reasons why. It seems like you, based on what you're writing in your paragraphs, it seems that you do tend to believe that he is persuasive. So think about how the epiphany could be a strategy that the writer uses to successfully convey his argument. The guard's callous behavior could be another strategy that he uses. And the symbols that you're talking about here could also be another strategy. So that's what I'm saying, that your body paragraphs are working pretty well. What you really just need is a clear key idea that connects to the thesis. And the reason why you don't have key ideas yet, right, like why this is still summary, is because you don't have a thesis yet. But I think if you got that thesis in there, this would work. So I think that this is a really good rough draft. It's just kind of expanding what you already have, meaning getting a clear thesis, getting clear key ideas, bringing in the concrete evidence in the form of direct quotation and paraphrase, and then unpacking that evidence. So explaining how does this evidence go back to support the idea that the author's argument is effective and why. So I think that this could work quite well. It's a strong rough draft, as I said. So I look forward to seeing where you take this, and I will hopefully hear from you soon. All right, thanks.